say that. Barry Hazel Jr., 46, he sued parole officials, and this is according to Reuters, sued parole officials accusing them of breaching the constitutional separation of church and state, and won the payout, which came to close to $2 million, after the Ninth U.S. Circuit Court of Appeals found last year he was entitled to compensation for time he was unjustly held in prison. Altogether, he was held in prison for 100 days. And the backstory to this is that old Junior there was a meth addict. Okay, so he was smoking meth. He got in trouble for smoking meth. He was on parole, right? And he dropped dirty or whatever. However it came about that he was found to still be doing things he wasn't supposed to do. He violated his terms. And so they required him to go into the AA program. Well, he refused to go into the AA program. And in refusing to do so, they imprisoned him. They put him in jail. They put him in jail for 100 days. And so when he got out, he said, this is illegal. This is unconstitutional. And this isn't new, Joe. I mean, this has been around for a while where people have been decrying AA and AA being involved with court-mandated programs for people who are struggling with drug addiction or substance abuse addiction, whatever it is.
It's actually a surprise that it's even taken this long before before someone sued. When we break down what AA is, it is entirely a religious way of dealing with abuse, alcohol abuse, and to make it mandated by the government when it is obviously a religious way of solving these problems is a separation of church and state issue. It's very clear cut. It's very clean, and I don't understand why there's even a bit of a problem with it. In fact, like I said before, it's just more surprising that it took this long before somebody even brought this up.
You know, he got the settlement altogether. It was $1 million from the state. Okay, so California doled out $1 million, and $925,000 from WestCare. It's the company that hired by parole officials to provide drug treatment for convicts. He ended up dropping the suit this week because of the settlement, right? But the thing is, I mean, this is a real issue that's been going on for quite a while. And to be honest, I've been to an AA meeting, I think altogether twice in my life. You know, I went and for different reasons, I was in a situation where I went to one of those meetings, but I didn't know much beyond that, other than my small experience in there, right? And so last night, we're sitting around, we had one of the volunteers, one of the team members for PaleoRadio. He's going to be working with us when we make the move to WKTV. And his name's Nick. And he was over, brilliant, brilliant dude. He's a brilliant mind. And he was talking to us about AA and giving us details about it. That, dude, I had no idea just how religious AA actually was. Like, I knew there were criticisms, but I never really investigated. But last night, it was revelatory for me. Yes. I had no idea. This is new.
Yeah, it was entirely new to me. I knew that there was a point where you give yourself up to a higher power, but I didn't know anything about the exact prevalence of how religious it is. In fact, I'm on recovery.org right here, and I can read off the first 3 steps of the 12-step program just to give you guys an idea. Yeah, again, recovery.org. AA step 1. We admitted we were powerless over alcohol and that our lives had become unimaginable and unmanageable. Okay. Step 2. Come to believe that a power greater than ourselves could restore us to sanity. And step 3, made a decision to turn our will and our lives over to the care of God as we understood Him, which is a very interesting way of saying it, God as we understood Him, which kind of is it's a vague open door for religion, right? It could be really anything that you're filling with that, but it's still, this is such a separation of church and state issue. It's just so obvious. It's very clear that this should not be the #1 way that we're dealing with alcoholics through our government system. There's got to be a way where professionals can deal with these people outside of religious tenets.
Yeah, I'm looking here too. There's a couple of the other ones here. Admitted to God, to ourselves, and to another human being the exact nature of our wrongs. I'm just like, I don't know about that. Like, I mean, I guess admitting it to God, right? If you're in your room by yourself, right, talking to something,
sure,
that, you know, whatever, saying, but once you start saying to ourselves and to another human being, I can imagine there being criticisms there. But also, we're entirely ready to have God remove all these defects of character, humbly ask Him to remove our shortcomings. How is this not like? How is this not religious, right? I mean,
it's absolutely religious,
right?
And isn't it? I would say that it is. It's just on very many levels. It's simply inappropriate. It's preying on people who are in a weak state, and it's putting them in a situation where they don't have any way out of it. And you don't need God to get over alcoholism, and you don't need God to get over addiction. And to say that there has to be some sort of connection there, and that that's a mandatory thing, I think is unreasonable, at best.
I do too. And I don't know, and I don't want to say that there's nothing out there, because I know that there is. I mean, even the Reuters article said that California prison officials said the state had since changed its policy to allow convicts who object to a 12-step program to attend a secular program instead. Now, I don't know what secular programs there are. I assume that they're out there. But they definitely don't have the attention of the state in the same way that AA or Narcotics Anonymous, that those do. And drug court is a real thing. In fact, drug court is becoming a prevailing thing within our system, where people are going through, and rather than going to jail, they go to drug rehabilitation, right? That's one of the main ways that drugs are being dealt with, at least especially here in Michigan and elsewhere. And AA seems to be the default group to go through. And that I don't know what kind of challenges. I'd be interested to know, but it seems like something that we should look at maybe with some urgency.
No, absolutely. There's got to be an alternative. There has to be. It's 2014. Right. There's got to be an alternative to a religious answer to alcoholism.
Right. All right, man. Okay, you had a topic.